Good evening, folks. Welcome back to Celtic Fans TV. It's time for live, full-time reaction to, I can't believe what I'm saying, Celtic 1, Sparta Prague 4. You can ask your questions in the live chat box below. You can ask super chats as well. I'm sure a lot of people have got some things to get off their chest tonight. I'm joined by Declan and Scott. Declan, where do you start with that?
Kind of lost for words, to be perfectly honest. To concede 4 goals at home in competitions, unacceptable at Celtic. I'm sure the manager should know that and should be thinking about that going forward, because to concede 4 goals, win 1 game in 6 at Celtic is not acceptable. And where we go from there just now, I don't know.
Scott, I'm probably, if you put it on a scale of critical to lenient on Neil Lennon, I think I'm probably the most critical on this panel that we've got tonight. But as I said to Declan, where do you go for here? We've played a team tonight that have got 7 first-team players out. They've got a 17-year-old in midfield and a third-choice goalkeeper in. And they've beat us 4-1. They hit the post, they hit the bar. Scott Bain had a couple of good saves. We've had 1 win in 6. We've conceded 14 goals in the last 6 games. I mean, try and make a case that Neil Lennon should continue.
What is that, a challenge? Is that a challenge for me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to get my blood pressure back down, mate, first things first. No, I'm not sitting here going to try and make a case for Neil Lennon. I just don't think the board are going to do it. I'd love for Neil Lennon to be able to turn it around. And I thought that over the last couple of showings, we'd probably done that. You're going into this game expecting a win, no less. And the first 20 minutes of the game were brilliant. I actually thought we were really good, high tempo. We were cutting through them, lots of triangles all over the place. But it just fizzled out like a sparkler. Tempo went 20 to 25 minutes, they came right into it. 4 solid chances in a row and then got their goal, rightly so. Mm-hmm. Totally changed the makeup of the game. Do you know what annoyed me about tonight, right? They were pressing us high at certain points. And see, for us, that's a godsend. See, when teams press us high, that's our opportunity to pass through it, because at the end of the day, we've got better players than them. And then we've got the whole middle of the park to move into and go and make a killer pass. And we were deciding not to do it. And we're passing the ball at the park, or we're punting it up to Edward and he's not holding it up because he's nowhere near his game. That guy needs to take a bit of flack as well, because first 20 minutes looked great and then done nothing.
Aye.
And he's been unbelievable for us. So is Callum McGregor, but both of them were nowhere tonight.
Yeah.
Aye, we'll get to individual performances, but I think it goes way beyond individuals. Declan, Scott's right. I thought the first 15, 20 minutes of the game, there was things that I liked. There was things that were half decent. We did dominate the ball, but as I said, they had a third choice goalkeeper in. It was the 43rd minute that we hit the first shot on target. El Yunusi hits the bar for Christie's cross on the 37th minute. It was the first time we even threatened their goal. So, for all it was a half-decent start, we done absolutely nothing with it.
No, we didn't. And again, 10 minutes into the second half, the subs came. We get the goal back. At 2-1, it looks as if, the rescue mission's maybe on. We might get a point in a game. And then it just completely breaks down from there onwards. And once again, I don't like to pick people out for individual errors, but Shane Duffy for the 3rd goal is abhorrently woeful. I don't know what he's doing. And again, it's not just down to Shane Duffy. It's not just down to individual mistakes. As a collective and as a team, very, very poor. And a European performance like that against a side, it's not a PSG, it's not Barcelona, it's no disrespect to Sparta. I thought they did well tonight.
It's not even Sparta Prague. It's Sparta Prague with its 7 first-team players.
Well, that's it. It's a Sparta reserve team. No, honestly, beyond belief as to that performance. Very, very poor.
Scott, I think, obviously, Duffy is going to stand out in terms of individuals. the game started to go wrong for 20 minutes onwards, and the sequence of play that actually led to their first goal started with Shane Duffy taking a free kick just into the middle of the park, and he gave it away. And then within the next 2 minutes, Brown gave it away, Beaton gave it away. Then they have the chance, they hit the bar, it goes for a corner, and we concede a goal from a corner again, shot corner.
Aye, that's the one. The guy flicks it on at the front post, hits the post, and then the guy's rattled it in. I mean, who's at the front post? I think I can remember Callum McGregor being up there.
Why is Callum McGregor defending the front post? You need somebody at the front post who can go and attack the ball if it comes into that area. Callum McGregor's no somebody that attacks the ball with his head. Why is he responsible for marking the front post?
There's got to be fundamental errors in the way that we're set up, because it's not the first time. We're just very poor from defending set plays, and we're poor defensively. Anytime that ball gets, within 25 yards of the goal, there's obvious space, and they kept finding it. So we were bombing forward, and when Laxalt and Frimpong go forward, and by the way, Laxalt, superb player, brilliant player, right? But see if he's not in our half when we're defending, what's the point? Do you know what I mean? Is at the halfway line anytime they've got a shot and goal. And then you've got Scott Brown, you've got McGregor, who are essentially our, makeshift. They come into the back four, and they just couldn't do it tonight. We were let down by last-ditch defending, and you should never have to rely on last-ditch defending, but tonight we did, and we were diving in. They were taking the dummy, and then they had a shot on target. Very, very poor. For the first 20 minutes of the game, I honestly thought to myself, they look a junior team. I thought this will be an absolute walk in the park. And then something totally changed. No idea what it was. I think maybe they just changed tactics slightly because they understood what they were doing wrong. And then we didn't change the game until 65 minutes. So after 30 minutes, 25, 30 minutes, you've got most punters and the commentators saying, just go toe-to-toe with them, go 3-5-2 because you've got better players and you will play, you'll make chances, because the formation that we started with was hopeless. Well, it was hopeless until 22 minutes. And then we made that change 65 minutes or 60-odd minutes. And it did make a bit of a difference. We get another lift again. We get plenty of the ball, we get plenty of space, and you think, right, now we're back on track. The 3-5-2. And see it come down to the 3-5-2 or the 4-2-3-1. It just depends on the day, and it depends on the game. So it's no, are we better 3-5-2? Are we better 4-2-3-1? I have both.
It's not good enough, but like it comes down to whatever's best on the day. So it's not working with certain individuals in certain positions. So we just change it, and we end up making 4 or 5 subs, and it doesn't get any better. You talked about last ditch defending there. There's a reason that we always end up in last ditch situations. It's because the defensive organisation of the team is an absolute shambles. I want to bring in a super chat for Adam Harley here. Shocking, we are a proud European club, and the players weren't fit to wear the jersey tonight. 10 in a row has distracted us from the Euro decline. There's no doubt that we've declined in European football in recent years, Declan. But to get back to Scott's point about last ditch defending tonight, we're not learning. That second goal right before half time is just a carbon copy of the goal we conceded against AC Milan. No far away for the goal we conceded against Ferencváros. You could probably go back to Copenhagen and see goals very similar. We are just gung-ho going forward, and then we lose the ball, and on the counter-attack, there's no defensive organisation. There's no structure to the team. We're all at sea. It's just a comedy, the defensive setup.
It's been the same story for too long now in defensively in European football, and what's keeping into a domestic game, especially set pieces. But tonight wasn't even just about defending set pieces. I know the first goal comes from the break in the corner, and we just look at 6s and 7s in the box. But, we were really split up between the defence and the midfield, and just looked totally all over the shop. And that's a worry, because we don't seem to be learning from it. And again, to go back to Sunday, I don't get what's changed from Sunday till Thursday, because on Sunday I thought Duffy and Beaton did their jobs really well. It looked as if Duffy had calmed down a wee bit. Beaton was sitting back, and it just looked as if they would, it looked as if Duffy would do a brick wall for you on Sunday. Tonight. Yeah, the opposition, but I mean, I don't know, but maybe say we're playing a better level of opposition, but as you say, 7 first team players missing, so probably just as good a side as Aberdeen. What changed from Sunday? I do not know. I don't know. I can't put my finger on that button at all.
Aye, well, I would think we probably played a better team. I know they're missing players tonight, but they looked relatively well organised and they had a game plan and it worked. You talk about Shane Duffy running through a brick wall. I think a brick wall could probably dribble past Shane Duffy.
Tonight, yeah.
Scott, can you believe the defending at that third goal?
Very, very poor. He's been bought and sold there, Duffy, hasn't he? He's dived in because he knows this guy's got me for pace, and so he's hoping that he gets a challenge in, and the guy's burnt him. It's terrible, mate. It's really, really bad. And I think when you go,
he's looking up at the sky. He's almost looking up at the sky before the guy's even by him.
He is in the photo. He's looking up at the sky. He's done. Then he's not going to get back.
Chucked it.
And he chucked it then, but the rest of the team chucked it as soon as the goal went in.
Well, it's two passes.
It's honestly could have been any score after the goal went in. We're literally ready to just walk off the park. Body language
played two
terrible.
passes. They've played two passes up the park, scored the goal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same scenario as their second goal. Like we lose the ball and it's two passes, goal.
Because we're overcommitted. We're vastly overcommitted at the top. Yeah. And even with that, right, here's the nightmare situation, right? Because we've vastly overcommitted at the top end of the park. And what are we getting for it? In terms of shots on target, in terms of something to watch, something to see, not a thing.
None.
We're getting decent positions. Frimpong beats any man that comes in front of him. Final ball's no there. Or the man's no there, or Edwards hanging back, or Griffiths did great for the goal actually, but after that there wasn't much else happening. Yet he didn't have time to do anything.
You talked about Frimpong there, right? Frimpong, we lose the first goal and Frimpong starts bombing up the park. Scott Brown drops back. It's just, we'll get the ball to the 19-year-old right wing back and hopefully he can play a blinder. Hopefully he can get us back in the game. This is a Celtic team, Declan, that relies solely on individuals. If individuals aren't playing well, there's nothing else to fall back on. There's no structure, as we've talked about defensively. There's nothing that, regardless of personnel, regardless of how individuals are playing, there's not a plan that works.
Well, I disagree with you in that. I thought it worked when we went to a 3-5-2 tonight, and it looked as if we could get ourselves back into the game. But an individuals, 100%, because on Sunday, the work that Edward was doing dropping deep was allowing Ellen to Rogic and Christie to get in behind. It's how you get your second goal. You see Rogic able to push into that into the box and get the chip off Ellen. He's getting in behind because Edward's dragging your defenders out. Tonight, he doesn't do that. Up front, you're completely static and nothing happens. So on that, yeah, individuals, we do count individuals and we don't have them, just as they seem to happen.
Mm-hmm. So over reliant on individuals, and that's a problem because that's how we end up making double sub after double sub, while we can make 5 subs. Like Lee Griffiths comes in the game, impacts it again, but I mean we looked better in the 3-5-2, but as I say, it's Groundhog Day. We've seen that movie 100 times. Like I had a feeling, I was going to tweet at half time actually, 2-0 down, that the game would finish 3-1, and I thought, nah, I don't want to be that guy. Didn't think it would finish 4-1, but Scott, it's just, regardless of formations and systems, and we're just a team that's over reliant on individuals, and it's not working.
No, and tonight we've got a lot. I mean, we're not at full strength, right? I think Ayer and Julian are a big miss. I think it's nights like tonight where you realise how much we do miss them. Ayer for how he can bring the ball forward, and Julian just for general defending, and he's a threat, obviously, at set pieces. I think we are heavily reliant on individual players, but I think, like Declan's trying to touch on, it's like we used to be pretty confident that we could have 2, 3, 4 potentially big players injured, and we wouldn't be massively worried about it. But that's just not the case anymore. And then it begs the question, let's say we did have Ayer and Julian, would it have been a vastly different game? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure we would have let in less goals. But
Well, can I just?
I think they'd have
can I
lost
just
4
add-
goals.
Can I just add there? Like, I would argue these are the same patterns that have happened against Cluj, against Copenhagen, against Ferencvaros.
Yep.
How many of the games did Ayer and Julien play in?
Yeah.
Like that. This is a pattern, and I tweeted during the game. The underlying issues are not being addressed. There's not. We had 2 encouraging performances last week, better performances. It would have been difficult not for them to be better after the way we had been playing. But we did have a good performance in Lille, and we played well on Sunday in the context of a semi-final against Aberdeen. But it's not turning the corner. It's not. It doesn't make all the underlying problems go away, and that's what we're seeing under Neil Lennon. How bad? Well, it's almost like we've traded away European form for home European form. Now we can't win at home. And we see it again and again and again. Cluj, Copenhagen, Ferencvaros, like Sparta Prague.
Not even big teams. It's no big teams at all.
There's no a big team in there. How many more of them do we need to see, Declan, before we say the team isn't learning, the management staff aren't learning, and things aren't getting any better?
I think there is a naivety of us as supporters with European football. The club use the rhetoric constantly, the propaganda that we're a Champions League outfit. We are by no means a Champions League outfit. That is seen in the summer. I don't want to go back and repeat all this again, but that is seen in the summer when it takes so long to get players in. You're waiting again to bring players in. You don't qualify for the Champions League. We go into the Europa League. How seriously we take it? Not very seriously. And European football for us as a club, I think it's a myth. I don't think we're interested in it. We want to dominate domestically. We do that very well. But when it comes to the European front, as a club, I don't think we care. And that's as basic as it is. And to be blunt and honest, I don't think we care on the European front, which for Celtic fans is hurtful because, in past glories, we know we can be a good side, especially at home in Europe. We just want performances and just want to go. That isn't happening. And how long that continues, I don't know, because we just don't seem to be learning any lessons from European football constantly.
See, just to add to Declan's point there, right? Like, not doing the business early, 100% true, right? And that absolutely stung us again in Europe this year. But we've had a good transfer window, right? I don't think anybody was particularly upset with the transfer window. And look where we are. Do you know what I mean?
Aye, we thought we had a good transfer window. Barkas is on the bench tonight. Ayeti's on the bench tonight.
Yep.
Shane Duffy looks like he can't tackle a fish supper. Like, Laxalt.
Spent the money,
okay,
brought
good.
in the big targets, and the manager's been backed. I don't think you can level a huge amount of disdain at the board for the transfer window apart from the business getting done early. I think that's the big criticism. But apart from that, good signings and money spent.
That's when the wicked comes, Scott, in terms of Champions League qualification and no qualifying for it. I mean, yeah, we spent a lot of money and get good players in, but the timing of it, could have been the difference between playing Champions League football and Europa League football.
No, I agree 100%.
We spent money, but when it comes down to the bit, again, just waiting too long to get players in.
Aye.
And I
agree 100%. All I'm saying is if like right now the timing doesn't matter because we are where we are. We're in the Europa League, but now we've got all the signings in. Okay, we're still a few players short, but then we go and get pumped at home to Sparta Prague. So the manager's been backed, money's been spent, and there's absolutely catastrophic results been thrown about at Celtic Park. It's not a great place to be.
I want to shout out Ben Bishop in the comments for the super chat. I don't want to get into if a change of manager is needed, who we could get in. At this stage, we'll be here all night talking about that. What I do want to say on Scott, your point though, we can't maybe criticise the board for a bad transfer window because they did spend the money and they did invest well this summer. But for me, it comes back to we can criticise the board for botching a recruitment process and manager. And not even looking at CVs of any other candidates. That's why we're in the situation we're in.
I'm not going to disagree with you, mate. I'm not going to disagree with you at all.
That'll do us for tonight. Like the video, comment with your own thoughts below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you shortly for Twitter reactions. Cheers.